once again, welcome back to the plot.
Right, morning everybody. It's a really cold start up here. All I've done this morning, I've just popped up to check on the heater next door in the melon house. It's been absolutely freezing up here. We had some lovely days last week, afternoon sunshine, but the mornings have been really cold, so we've never really getting much done at the garden bar repairs. I posted a little video online last week when I had the bonfire. I've got the same again outside today, but there's no way I'm coming up tonight like that. I've got it covered with polythene, but it's absolutely freezing out there, so I'm just going to leave it for another few nights. It's still dark at 5 o'clock up here in the northeast, so I can come up 5:30 and then light the fire away then, and we're not causing any nuisances to anybody, any of the neighbours. So as I say, I've just popped up because I've got seeds to sow this weekend, so I wanted to get cracking up here and just show you how we'll go on. Now these seeds I'm sowing are just for pollination, for bringing it into the greenhouse, like for your tomatoes, your cucumbers, everybody else, everything else that are growing. They need the pollinators in, and just having doors at either end of the tunnels sometimes isn't enough. So what we like to do, we like to start off very early. I've got a couple of messages online asking when I start our seeds off. Well, it's a bit early for us yet. We don't start off till March. I know it's only 3 weeks away, but there's a big difference between March and February. As I say, it's absolutely freezing out there. I know I've got a little bit of heat on in the melon house, but I want to utilise that space because I've got a lot of dahlia tubers in there. I've got leeks that I'm not using. I'm not potting up. When I get my leeks, I've been sorting out the best ones, keeping them, putting them into bigger pots up down home, which I'll show you. And then the rest have been coming up here into the melon house with a little bit of heat on, just frost free, that's all. And they're just ticking over nicely. So, you know, it's all about juggling the space you've got. So when I start bringing pollination flowers, I need the space, I need the room. So you've got to be careful. I mean, next month we'll be sowing tomatoes and God knows what. So we need the space down home where I've got my light on, I've got my heat on, and not too much heat. As I say, I'm quite happy sitting at 50 degrees, 45. It's dropping down to 40 every evening, but I'm quite happy with that. It's frost free and it's just ticking over just nicely. I don't need loads of heat, that's for what we're going to be growing. I'll just show you a few of these. If you remember when we did these last year, these are the foxgloves. The foxgloves are absolutely fantastic for bringing the pollination, bringing the bees and that in. So if you haven't grown any foxgloves, they're perennial, but what we like to do is, we've got 4 trayfuls over there. That'll be going out to family and friends in the next couple of weeks. But I'll get 6 of them, or 8 of them. I'll sort them out, we'll take them up and we'll put them off in a decent sized pot. A litre pot or 2 litre pot, whatever you can spare. And then they'll come back into here, into the greenhouses, and it'll flower nice and early, so it'll bring the bees in. Another good one is cosmos. I'll be sowing some cosmos down home, so I'll show you how we're going about sowing the seed. And then we'll bring the trays back up here. I was going to sow them up here, but unfortunately we haven't getting that glass greenhouse sorted out yet. That's my priority. The more afternoon when I come up, I'm going to sort that glass greenhouse out, get all them benches out, put the new benches on the bottom, the boxes that will grow the tomatoes in, get them all set, timbers on top of there, and then the benches back in for the time being until we need the room for to put tomatoes in. But we'll go through all that later on. As I say, foxgloves, one of the priorities. I will make an early sowing of marigolds. Normally I don't sow my marigolds till March, back end of March, because they're a big seed and they come away quite easy. And but I will sow a few early ones, a couple of trayfuls, and that's just for putting in amongst the tomatoes. And with tomatoes are going, potatoes are going in here. Once the potatoes come out, we'll be going pigs along the side. We'll be growing sweet corns, we'll be growing marrows, cucumbers, peppers, chilies, everything in here. So lettuces, we'll need a nice good soil. Once them tatties come out, we'll give it a good liming. I'll just check it, check a pH on the soil, which I don't normally do. As I say, when I've had the tatties in, they normally take all the salts and everything else out. That's why we like to use cabbages in between sowing, because they clear the soil for you really nice. And all this can be done with is a couple of handfuls of bloodfish and bone and a good liming, and like I say, it'll be perfect to go for any amount of plants that you want to plant out. So that's our foxgloves. Farther along, we've got their we've still got all the spring bedding in here. It's far too cold to be bringing out, think about yet. But if you remember a couple of videos away, when I chopped the sweet pea down, there you are. They're absolutely marvellous. They're still lovely and clean. There's one or two of them starting to get a wee bit too big. So all you've got to do again is nip them one down, back down to two, and you'll still push out again. If they're starting to get a bit too leggy, they're lovely and clean, so they don't need anything on them. The soil's lovely. I've been going around de-weeding them. It's a first-class pot of sweet pea. Now they can be planted out in the middle of March to the end of March, and that's only another 4 or 5 weeks away. So they're quite well. They're in the pot, and the roots are at the bottom there, but they don't need anything. If I think they're suffering any, what I can do is just give them a light feed in the water and tip it into the tray. And like I say, there's a few weeds on the bottom there. But we'll just check them once a week. Fantastic little plants, and you can grow them so easy. If you just got a cold greenhouse or a polytunnel, you can grow your sweet pea really easy. If you just want to do a summer sowing, well, now's the time. You can put your sweet pea in now. It's no problem. You will get quite a burst of growth, and you'll have a lot of root system. That's why we like to sow them in the autumn. They're nice and slow, steady, and by the springtime you get a first-class plant ready for planting out. As I say, the spring bedding starting to come into its own now. Well, these are all autumn sown. That's the pollinators, absolutely marvellous plants. I grow these every year, and for the price of a packet of seed, it's so easy to grow them. If you just take your time, you just make sure your basic steps on sowing seed, you follow them. You follow that rule of thumb. It's nice and clean trays, clean water. I'll show you when we go next door what I mean by clean water. As I say, we don't bother so much with these, with the clean water. We just use water out of the barrels. But for God's sake, don't use it on your self-sown seed. Yeah? Once you start sowing your seed, you want nice fresh water out the house or up the tap. Fill a container up, bring it into the greenhouse so it warms up, it comes up the same temperature as your greenhouse, and then you've got nice fresh water to go across on your seedlings. I don't water above anyway, I water from below. That's why all my stuff's in trays, and I just have to come along with a watering can, water into the tray, and always let the plants in. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Now I've got a full tray of them out of one packet of seed. Maybe it costs you £3 for a packet of seed, but you'll pay 3, 4, 5 quid for them in the year. And that's just for one plant. You'll pay £1.99. So you know, over a packet of seed, and you're getting 50, 60 plants like that. It's well worth the effort. I've got tradefuls of sweet william. Over the Bellis daisy. Bellis daisy are really coming into their own. Should have really spent some time over the last couple of weeks cleaning these up, and that's all I need. Just some of the dead leaves taken off, and you can see the weeds coming through there. Pull the weeds out, but they're a fantastic little plant. Bellis daisy, so easy to grow, and that's a 6 pot there, and I've got 2 full trayfuls there. Now hopefully I'm going to get these out next month, first, second week in March. If the weather's fair in the middle, I'll send these out to family and friends, and you can start planting out into their gardens. So that's them. As I say, it's all about just taking your time, soaking about them. It's all about just taking your time and just being careful. As I say, I've got any amount. I've got pansies over there, loads of pansies. I've got delphiniums down there. Now I just went through the delphiniums last week and took all the dead leaves off them, because what you don't want, especially in cold conditions, you don't want bioters, and that's murder to get shot of. what we like to do here with the doors just behind us, I've just renewed this door. If I can turn this round and show you, I've just renewed this door. It was falling apart, so I put new hooks on. I've got new furniture on it, new bolts in it, and new wire on, and it's exactly the same as at the other end of the tunnel, right at the bottom end there. The doors are exactly the same. They are never covered up, so there's fresh air blowing through all the time. Excuse me. And that's keeping your airflow nice and fresh for your plants, especially. You shut them up, especially with polytunnels, and people keep saying, what ventilation should I have in my polytunnels? Now, right along the sides here, I've got net. I've got the polythene on the one side, and I've got net on the back, on the outside. I can take the polythene covering away and just leave the net. On the bottoms here, it's just net. So there's wind blowing through, there's air constantly moving all the time, and it keeps them tunnels just nice. When we put the tomatoes in, what we can do, we can put the polythene on and just have nets at both ends of the tunnel, but the doors are exactly the same. Mesh on, and it's blowing through. People might think, oh, it's a bit cold that for tomatoes, but it's not. In a polytunnel, believe you me, in the summertime when the sun gets on it, it's a flipping scorcher. You cannot work in it, it gets that hot. So ventilation is a priority. Even in the winter. Down home, you know, when I go up my little 8x6, I like to open the door and for at least a couple of minutes, let the air through, let the air circulate and back out, fresh air in. Even with the heater on, doesn't make any difference to me, as long as that air is getting changed and you're not getting any stagnant air. So you're reducing the risk of bite rust all the time. Bite rust loves damp conditions, so be very careful with your watering. That's another main thing. If you're starting to sow your seeds, just be very careful how you water them. As I say, I always water from down below anyway. I get my seed tray, put the seed tray in a tray of water, let it soak it up, sow the seed, spray on the top, chamomile tea. That's the first thing I'll do. Give them a good spray of chamomile tea, and that's the last water they'll get on top of that tray, because from then on, they water from down below. And it just keeps them nice and free. Spray them with the odd time with chamomile tea, every week or two, every fortnight, and it just keeps them nice and clean. The antibacterial properties in chamomile tea, people asking me, why do you use chamomile tea? Well, that's it. It's full of antibacterial properties. It's absolutely marvellous. If you read up on it online, you'd be quite surprised. So I like to give my plants a good spray with that, and it just keeps them nice and clean. I'm going to trial a new one this year. A lot of people have been going on about it, because when we like to use our sprayers, we like to try and be as organic as we can. So this year I'm going to try the neem oil, and there's a lot of people been going on about it. It's a herbicidal. It's for cleaning or for keeping. You can use it on your body, and some of the uses are absolutely marvellous. But the main thing is using it on plants. Now, I haven't fully read up on it, but I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to go right through the internet. And it's beneficial for keeping the bugs off your plants. So what I'm going to do with the neem oil, I'm going to, what I like to make is a garlic spray up, and I'm going to see if I can add a bit of garlic spray to the neem oil, and I'm surmising that the neem oil will help it stick to the plants a lot more efficiently. Normally what I do is just use a bit soapy, kitchen soap, put that in, but I'm going to put the neem oil in this year, and I'm going to see if that's any different. Last year down home, especially, my gladiolis were just covered in thrip, and I tried a couple of sprays, but I was off the boil for a couple of weeks last year when I was poorly, and I just missed it. I missed the chance to get a hold of it. And then the same up here happened. We had the sweet corn in here, and the sweet corn were just ravaged with it. So I'm making a point of it this year is to keep on top of the plants and just watch them week by week, even when they're in the young stages of pots. Just make sure they're nice and clean. I always like to go on with the garlic spray, just give them a garlic spray, because it will not kill the pests, but what it'll do, it'll deter them. It's a deterrent. It'll stop them from munching away, it's like caterpillars and stuff like that. So the idea of adding the neem oil, or adding my garlic spray to the neem oil, I'm hoping it's going to combat both sets of pests. I've been looking at the pyrethrum. Pyrethrum another organic, or semi-organic pesticide, so I'm just going to read up on that and try and get as many organic chemicals in what arson is what we can this year. So I'm not going to be deterred by any pests this year. So as I say, week by week we'll go by it and we'll have a look and we'll see what we can use and what we can't use. I like to use my nettle juice. Well, nettle juice you can use as a spray. It's exactly the same. So it's just getting it boiled down. It stinks when it's in the tank. If you let it ferment in the tank, drain it off, then use a bit of that. So that's another spray you can use. Absolutely marvellous. But there's 2 or 3 we're going to try this year, trying to keep the pest down. We'll pop next door and I'll just show you how we're getting on in the big tunnel there. The spring cabbages are starting to romp away there, so they're not too bad. But we'll have a little 5 minutes in there before we go down home and we'll start sowing some seed, okay? Just want to switch off. Okay, right, well, here we are next door. My first tunnel, as you can see. I've done quite a bit of work on here. I've done some running repairs on the back of the roof yet to the tunnel. I put an extra hoop in. It's not secured in yet, but it was to keep the polythene up because in the centre here there's a bigger gap. Everyone else is 5 foot and the centre one's 6 foot. And of course the polythene's got a tendency sometimes to sink if you get a heavy rain and you get a big bubble of water building up. So I'll put this in temporary, and when I put them spars from running lengthways, I've got to renew a couple of them this year. I'll put an extra bit of timber, an extra bit of hoop just on there, and that'll fix that. This is full of stock plants on the top here. I've got some big leeks down the bottom there. I've just given them a spray, a light spraying. These are seedling leeks. If I can get a hold of one. There we have it. I've just given that a good clean down, and this is solely for seed. I'm going to let them grow on. I'm going to shave half a head and I'm going to leave half a head for seed. So we'll see how they come. Now this is a Cumbrian. I'm just getting off one of the lads. It's supposed to be a Cumbrian, but it's been a lovely leek. It won one of the shows up the northeast here, in one of the clubs. So I'm hoping for some decent stuff off that. I want to start growing leeks again. I'm getting a few from John Salisbury. Absolutely fantastic. Got some lovely King Charles leeks off him. So if anybody's looking for leeks, that's the guy to get them off. Go online and just type in John Salisbury's gardening, and you'll be amazed. I've been watching some of his videos over the last few weeks. I like it when he goes around visiting different people, at different growing, different techniques. You'd be surprised at how many people, how different ideas and whatnot. But it's great to learn a few extra ideas and bits and bobs. Now I've got 2 trayfuls of shallots here that need to go out, and these are going into the 100-foot greenhouse. I know that's coming down. It's going to be starting to come down within the next couple of weeks, but the bed's still in there, so I'm going to be planting these in the bed, and it's just going to give them a little bit of protection for the next couple of weeks until I take that down, and by then hopefully it'll be into March and the weather will be a bit finer. If not, I can always put a bit of net or a bit of polythene over the bed just to keep them frost free. Watering. Now this is a fine example. If you look at the top of the pot there, green algae. Now I'm not so bothered about these plants, as I say. I water out the barrel and I water these, and that's what you'll end up with. If I get a bit closer there, green algae growing on the bottom, because it doesn't matter how many times you change your water in your tanks, within a couple of days you've got all sorts of molds, funguses, viruses getting in your water and changing, and that's what happens. So if you want that in your seed tray, your young seedlings, which is the worst thing you can give them, don't forget fresh water all the time. Even if you go to the tap, just take a container up, fill it up and put it in your greenhouse. So your watering can, so it comes up with temperature, and then you've got nice fresh water. Do not use the water out of your tanks, because even after a few days, if you've changed and cleaned them, it's going to be exactly the same. Although it's not going to harm these plants, it'll certainly harm your seedlings. And of course, when your seedlings are coming through, they want the best light, they want your warmth, your moisture, and just, you know, the best conditions you can give them. Nice clean trays, and they'll grow on much stronger, much happier, and you get a much better plant later on. So that's a good tip. But as I say, it's not going to harm these plants. All they want is a little cleaning up, little de-weeding, and we'll be planting these out hopefully next weekend when I get the last of them parsnips taken out. Well, the parsnips have been absolutely fantastic. So what I'll do on the next video, next week hopefully, we're going to get started. I know we've been off for a couple of weeks, but we've been trying to get as much maintenance done in the garden as we can. Both the polytunnels are up and running now. I'm over the moon. Our spring cabbages, we've got two lovely rows there. There's a line down the middle. I wanted to put the spring cabbage either side because what I'm planning on doing, they'll not be as big as what they normally are. Normally we get a spring cabbage planted in September. As soon as them tomatoes or the taters come out, we plant them. But we were a bit late this year. I had to do a second sowing because I lost a few. So what I'm planning on doing this year, if they're not ready to come out, I'll plant a row of tomatoes in the centre and a row of tomatoes on either side, and the cabbages can just grow on as normal until I get a decent size where we can crop them. So we're not losing any land, and we're not losing any crops. That's the way to do it. But I've got Durham Earlies on one side, and I've got Wheelers Imperial on the back end there. I've got two rows. Normally I have about 3 varieties of spring cabbage and one outside, but we didn't do it this year. It's just as well because we got hammered by the wood pigeons again at the beginning of the year. And that's not going to happen this year. We're going to be ready for the little buggers this time. But yeah, leeks, onions. I've got some lovely onions down home. So I'll show you them when we get down. I've got some nice leeks down home. Probably in the next week or two, we'll have to start thinking about putting them up and bringing some of the spare stuff here. So that's why I'm bringing the last of the dahlia tubers out, and the dahlia tubers are going at the melon house here. They're quite happy in there. I'm not that worried about getting early cuttings. When the cuttings start coming in March and April, I'm quite easy to take them off, and we'll get some extra plants maybe rooted by June, no problem. And that's the time for us planting out here anyway in the northeast, especially with dahlias, because they are a bit frost free, frost tender. So we'll just take it easy with them. Now the back garden, I'll probably show you a little bit when I get on home. The back garden I managed to get Anne's border done, the wife's border. I dug everything out last year. The delphiniums out, the roses out, xanthidescias. I dug everything out because the border hadn't been touched for 14 years. So what I did, I took everything out and I really dug right down, dug it all over, and added manure, compost, a load of compost from behind me where I've been rotting, homemade compost, bagfuls of that in, bagfuls of horse muck, level it all out and then replanted it. And now hopefully we'll just let it go and we'll get a good flush of flower, especially the delphiniums. I love them, and hopefully we'll get some grand colours, but I'll show you them as they come up through the summer. And Anne's happy, so happy wife, happy life, as they say. Right, so we're going to knock off now. I've got a little bit of work to do. I've got my paraffinator to check, I've got the wicks to trim, and that's all I'm going to do today. And I'll go down home and we'll start sowing some of these seed. I'll take the I've got the cosmos up there and I've got a few marigold seeds up there, so we'll sow them. I'll show you exactly how we like to sow our seed. But this is just for the early pollinators. We need pollinators in here. As I say, we've got foxgloves to pot up. We'll put the foxgloves up into a litre or 2 litre pots, and they'll grow on just nicely, and we can just dab them amongst the tomatoes or whatever crops we've got in, and that's going to bring all them hoverflies, bees, wasps, everything in. It's going to do your pollination for you to no end. Doesn't matter what size greenhouse you've got or what size polytunnel you've got. Bring your pollinators in and they will follow, believe you me, and you'll get some fantastic crops. Okay, so I'm going to knock off now, pick some seed up, and we'll nip down home and I'll show you how we sow our seed. Okay, see you again soon. Right, okay, well, we've managed to get back down home again after them few showers. It was absolutely pouring down. We've got a little bit of hail, a little bit of rain, The wind hasn't picked up, but it's still cold outside, so I've managed to get myself back down in the back garden there, and starting to get a few seeds sown. Now, as I say, seed sown, it's you can make it as easiest as you want, as long as you follow them first basic rules of cleanliness, moisture, warmth, and light. That's one of your main things, the light. If you haven't got the light, don't bother. Wait. Up here where I am, I never see the sun till March. As I say, I get a little bit of a morning through between the two houses, and I get a little bit in the west of an evening, but that's it. Until it clears my roof in the March, when it's high enough in the sky. But I manage with a little bit of extra lighting from my lamp, my LED light, and that suits me quite well. Now, seed sown, as I say, if you want to sow in a house, fair enough, on the windowsill. My idea, you get too much heat in the house, it's far too warm, and your seeds will just run through. But that's why you've got to watch them. You've got to have plenty of light on the windowsill, and then they'll start turning towards the light. So you've got to revolve them every day. Make sure they don't get too leggy, because once they get too leggy, and you're going to struggle. Them plants are going to struggle to make a decent plant. You can't repot them. When you repot them and sow them a bit deeper in your pot and compost, and that sometimes they'll take a legginess out of them. But apart from that, you want a nice, slow and steady. Mine will start off down here, and then they'll go up in the melon house on the top shelf where there's plenty of light, or the polytunnel on the top shelves. They get full light, and they're nice and steady, slow, cool, not too warm. And my seed trays are always the same. I have the smaller ones for the small packets of seed. I have a half tray, and I've got the larger trays, the full size trays. And the best way to do that is to, just pick a packet up, you pack the seed up and read what it says on the back. It gives you all the information that you need, your seed count, when to sow, where to sow, blah, blah, blah. They're all more or less the same, but once you've been gardening for a few years and you start to pick your own ideas and you bit more knowledge, usually you don't even bother looking at the back of the back of the seed packet. You just plow on, sow them, plant them, and away you go. You learn. But I always like for the top of the pack, seed count. That's the main thing to me. And then that will tell you what seed tray. There's 150 seed in the larkspur, so I'm not going to use a full size seed tray for 150 seed. I can use a half tray, or I can use my quarter tray, or if you haven't got any of them, just a standard 7cm pot will do. Fantastic, that'll do. As you can see, they're sitting in water at the moment. They're drawing their own water up. And all I'm going to do now is get the top soaking. That one's been soaking since this morning, so that's done that. I was sowing a few seeds this morning earlier on, so I've got a few of them done. Now this is my spray. Is what I do all the time. If your compost isn't moist enough, you'll not make the impression that you want. Now when I talk about impressions, a lot of people will sow them. A lot of people will sow them far too deep. You get a seed tray and your pot and compost is nice and moist. All I use is a pencil or a bit of bamboo, and all you've got to do is press your pencil, depending on how many seeds you've got. What I normally do is 3 rows and just press it into the compost like that. It's nice and moist. Press it in just the depth of the pencil, and that way, now that's well soaked in now, so that can come out the tray. What you've got now, you've got your tray there, and you've got your three rows where the pencil's been sewn in. So we'll take that, we'll empty that tray out because they're well soaked now. Take that into there, and you've got enough water. As you can see, they're dripping away there. Now that's perfect. Always like to use the glasses for these. Now these, when I was talking about for the pollinators, you can't go past your larkspur. Absolutely beautiful flower. When you look in the pack of that, it'll tell you so direct in the garden where that'll flower. Me, I like to sow them in the greenhouse. I like to sow them in gentle rows, and then when they come through, you can prick them off into little bunches, exactly the same as what I do with the lobelia. Prick them off into little bunches and put them off into whatever pot you've got, whatever size pot you've got, 7 centimetre, 9 centimetre. And once they grow on, I can put them into, put 3 or 4 plants in a big 2 litre pot and stand them in the greenhouse, and they'll just flower away. Larkspur, cosmos, I've got cosmos here. I'm going to put the cosmos in now. Once again, the back of the packet, it'll tell you how many's on there. 120 seed. Well, that's perfect for this tray here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my time and go along the edge of the tray, letting the seed. There you are, it's just starting to come out there. Just take my time. 3 nice rows. When I'm potting seed off, I don't like to pot them off singly. I like to have a nice full pot of flower. Well, they're going to grow away lovely, them. So there's 120 seed divided by 3. Browsers go as 40. So there's 40 seed in a row, or thereabouts. If the seed count's a little bit heavier, well, but that does make perfect, that, because when they come through, fantastic. When they come through, there they are there. Oops. You can just see them, 3 nice rows there, and all they're going to get now, you can, whatever choice you want, perlite, vermiculite. I love to use vermiculite because it keeps it nice and moist, or you can use just a little bit of perlite and just gently cover them over. I've got vermiculite down the bottom of the shed at the bottom of the garden there, but just for, I always forget something. But just for the sake of showing you how easy it is. There we have it. Now they're well watered. I'm not planted too deep. And they're nicely in that tray. So there's 3 rows of cosmos there. And when them come through, as I say, they'll be coming through in little bunches. I'll put them off into a 9 centimetre, 7 centimetre pot, whatever, grow them on, and then I'll put 3 or 4 bunches into a bigger pot, and they'll sit in the greenhouse up where the tomatoes are, or wherever, where sweet corns and peppers, chilies, and they'll bring the flies, they'll bring the other flies in, they'll bring the bees in. They're an absolute beautiful flower, and of course they're lovely to see in the summer houses. You know, flowers aren't just for the outside the garden. I always like to use cosmos. I've got a couple of packets of cosmos. I'll sow another packet in March. As I say, this is just the early ones for bringing on in the greenhouse. When you want to sow them for the outside, I'll start them off in March time, because I don't need them till at least May. So you've got March, April, May, you've got 3 months to get a nice decent size plant to put out. I never start filling the borders out until at least May up here in the northeast, because we're prone to frosts right up until June. So the likes of them, they're a little bit hardier, cosmos, but the likes of dahlias, petunias and stuff like that for the hanging baskets, it's June up here. So that's the time for that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sow the larkspur, and then what I'll sow is I've got a little packet here of marigold. Now normally I'll keep my own marigold. Now I've got a big container of them up on the plot. They're ready for sowing next March. I've kept them for years. I've had these marigolds for donkeys. Excuse me. That's the only thing setback with perlite is you get a dust and you get on your chest. It's murder. But I've had these naughty Mariette, which you call them, these marigolds. I've had them, must have been about 15, 20 years now. And every year I just go around the greenhouse and I pick a couple of dozen heads off, put them in a container or in a box or a bag, take them down home, put them in the garage, let them dry out. And then when I'm bored in the winter time, I take them out of the bag and then I just go through them, take all the seed off them, and I get thousands of seed off them, a couple of dozen heads, and that's it, the flowers again for next year. But they're cheap enough to buy, $3.99 a packet, and these are going to be the early ones, and these are going to be just for the greenhouse. So we'll set these away now. We'll set the marigolds, we'll set them away, and we've got the foxgloves. We've got 2 or 3 different types of flower up there that we can take into the greenhouse, and that's the whole idea, is to bring them bring the beneficial insects into the greenhouse. And but I do exactly the same method when I'm sowing my main crop flowers in the March. When I start sowing the lobelia by the end of this month, that's about the only one I do so early. Petunias I'll probably sow first week of March, as with all the other ones. There's loads of flowers you can choose from. There's some quite difficult ones, but if you stick to the basic methods of growing, and you shouldn't have any problems. As I say, get yourself a pencil, get yourself a little bit of bamboo, whatever size pot you're making or whatever size tray you're using. If you get a packet of flowers where you've got thousands of seeds in, like you do with foxgloves and lobelia, and then you want to use a full-size seed tray, well, it's easy enough to do. You've got a full-size seed tray, and all you need is a bit of bamboo, the length of that, and it's exactly the same. You just press in 3 rows, and you've got 3 nice rows. These are my watering trays, by the way. My seed trays. There's a seed tray down there I'll be using. I've just tipped a load of water in there. Just make sure you've got plenty of holes on the bottom in these, which they have done. And of course these sit into there, and then you can water the bottom of the tray, water straight through, take them out when you want, and jobs are good. I've always watered from down below, never watered from above, never. And of course that's a lot of it stops a lot of the biotris and the molds and the whatever it is building up. But oh, good coffee that. But as I say, I'm always busy down here. I've got some fantastic leeks here. As I say, I sent away for for some leeks to John Salisbury, and he very kindly sent us over some King Charles. That's his new variety. Smashing looking leek, absolutely lovely. But these are going to just be for stock for me. I'm going to try them out the first day, and a couple of them I'll keep for stock. As I showed you up the garden, one of the bigger leeks I had off last year's show, and that'll be put away for seed. I'll shave the head, I'll half shave the head, I'll leave half pods on for seed, and the rest I'll shave off, and I'll get grass off that. So but that's a long way off. That's September, quite a long way off. So I've got a couple of these onions here that have been growing on for oh, watch your canes. I've been growing them for a few weeks now, and some absolutely lovely onions. Well, these will just go for stock. Once I get them sorted out, I've got a few smaller ones, but I've got about 3 or 4 varieties, and I'm hoping to get quite a few decent onions out of them. As I say, they'll not be getting shown this year. It'll be probably next year, or even the year after. But if I'm still kicking around, but we'll see. But for the time being, that's it. A little bit seed sown. It's an absolute pleasure to do them, growing everything from seed, and of course it save you a fortune in your pocket and all. Especially perennials. Perennials are so easy to grow. If you follow us, like we did in the autumn, in September, sow the seed then and just grow them over the winter, you get an absolutely fantastic plant out of them, which I've shown you this morning. So easy to do. I've done all my garden out there, hands over the moon with it, the wife. All our borders prepared. Our roses are all back in, as I say. I've got any amount of flowers in amongst them. I've got the xanthidescias there, the big white lilies. I've got the fox. I've got the red hot pokers. I've got I've got all sorts, and of course all our bulbs are coming through there. Summer bulbs, spring bulbs, are all starting to pop through. So it's going to be a really nice border. And then I've got the outside all planted up, and then I've just got the baskets to do in the summertime for her. But it's going to be a riot of colour. But I'll show you all that when we're sitting out here on a summer's evening with a cold glass of beer, and that's the best time. But for the time being, I'm going to knock off and carry on doing my little bit sowing here. As I say, if you've only check your packet first, see what seed count you've got, and then that'll determine what size tray you'll need. But if you've only got 40 or 50 seed in it, it's waste of time filling up a whole size standard tray for the sake of a few seeds. Even I've done it myself. I don't do it so much now as I used to do. I used to save a lot of containers from the supermarket. Now, if you're going to use them, if you haven't got the trays, you haven't got the resources to buy trays and whatnot, then they are fine to use. They're a little bit deeper, but use the same method as to when you fill your tray up, just leave a half an inch from the top, half inch to a quarter of an inch. That's all you want. Fill that with compost. Get it nice and wet. Make sure you got plenty of drainage holes in the bottom, because people sometimes just poke it a couple of times and they think, oh, that's fine. Get in there, plenty of holes, plenty of drainage. Sit in your water. Make sure it's able to soak up water into your compost, and you get it nice and wet. And then you can take it out, let it drain. Then you can press your pencil into there. You'll get put 2 rows in there. If you've only got 50 seed or 30 or 40 seeds, something like that, that's fine. Press your pencil in twice. You've got 2 rows, sow your seed, and then just a light covering of perlite or vermiculite, and it's perfect. Put it in the heat, put it in a propagator. I've got plastic propagators that I use. I've put most of my seedlings in there. I've got peppers and trayfuls of pepper. I've just sown a lot of herbs that I sent away for. I've got mint, rosemary, and I've got sage. Some of my best, most popular herbs. I love them. And I've just sown some new ones because some of my old stock was really woody, and we dug them all out when we've done the boxes. So I've sown all new seed, and I'll show you how to get on with them this year. They're exactly the same. They're in just small trays because the seed counting is 40 and 50 seed per packet. So they're ideal for that. And they're in there, they're on the heat, a little bit of bottom heat, and hopefully they should be coming through soon. I've got trayfuls of onions growing there, and they're in exactly the same way, same compost. Use a Kelsey. And they're just nice and slow. I don't like to hurry anything up. They're the Kelsonian, and they're sown exactly the same compost, just multi-purpose compost with a bit of perlite. Now, when we start potting up, we'll use my 3-2-1 mix, which is I've used that for years. But once we start potting up, I'll show you my mix. I'll tell you how we mix it and how you make your own mix, and that too will save you a few bob. But that's what it's all about. Saving a few coppers and getting the best plants you want for your garden. So if you want to follow her, you know where we are. It's Jeff Foreman on the plot. Just give her the heads up, friends request, and we'll get you signed up, and you can follow her week by week, and we'll show you how we grow on. Fantastic veg, fantastic flowers, nice plants, and of course, can't get anything better than that for and of course the friendship that you meet along the way, different friends, gardeners, and can't beat it. But just give her a ring, just give her a heads up there, friends request, and we'll get you signed up, and you can follow us week by week in how we grow and what we do. Hopefully next week we'll get up the garden, we'll get them shallots planted, and I'll dig the last of them parsnips up. They've been absolutely marvellous this year, fantastic parsnips. But we'll show you anyway when we're digging them up, before we start dismantling that 100-foot greenhouse. Okay, so I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.